A WWE wrestler's gimmick is an important aspect of their character as it determines their personality and how the audience really feels about them. And a WWE superstar may rotate through various of these gimmicks throughout their career. It's almost as if everyone in the WWE suffers from multiple personality disorder and we're just all totally fine with it. So today we're gonna look at WWE superstars that have had multiple gimmicks and we're gonna figure out which of the various gimmicks they've had was the best one of all. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications if you're a wrestling fan. I promise you already found the best wrestling channel that there is. We upload daily, so go ahead and subscribe. All right, so let's start off with my favorite WWE superstar of all time, John Cena. On the left, we have the champ, hustle, loyalty, respect, Super Cena. And on the right, we have the doctor of Thugonomics. And honestly, I love both of these characters. I would say that the doctor of Thugonomics is more of an outlandish character. He's a lot more fun, a lot more silly, a lot more ridiculous. So definitely when I was a kid, it was really easy for me to gravitate to the doctor of Thugonomics, but I seem to grow up alongside John Cena's character development, and ultimately now as an adult, and even looking back for the majority of my life, I think I've enjoyed the hustle, loyalty, respect, the champ version of John Cena the most, especially towards the latter half of his career when he was doing things like the US Open Challenge, things like that. But the doctor of Thugonomics is so nostalgic for me. But for me, I'm gonna pick hustle, loyalty, respect, the champ. He has like a bunch of different things that you can call him. I'll just call him hustle, loyalty, respect, John Cena. Oh, okay, this is a tough one. We've got the dead man, the Undertaker, versus the American Badass. And look, I will be the first one to tell you that the dead man is significantly far more iconic than the American Badass will ever be, okay? So let's just completely get that out of the way. I'm also gonna be the first one to tell you that the gimmick of a dude pretending to be dead and being an Undertaker is stupid. It's only good because the Undertaker is so good at his job that he made it good. I personally just like the American Badass more because I feel like it's Mark Calloway, the Undertaker, being just a more outlandish version of himself as opposed to playing this fictional character. So I resonate more with the American Badass. When I started watching wrestling, he was the American Badass. I love the rolling theme. I love the dead man walking. You've done it now. I love the presentation of the American Badass, the Harley, everything. So me, even though I'm acknowledging, so don't come at me in the comments, that the dead man is far more iconic, I like the American Badass more. We've got Cody Rhodes. We have the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. We have Stardust Cody Rhodes. And we have the dashing Cody Rhodes. Dashing. Anyways, I don't know what I'm doing. So very, very different personalities of Cody Rhodes. It kind of shows his range, right? Like being able to play, this heroic version of himself to this pompous douchebag version of himself to this thing in the middle that is just this outlandish, crazy, ridiculous, supernatural character in Stardust. So Cody Rhodes demonstrating his acting range here. So I want to at the very least highlight that. But me personally, dashing Cody Rhodes didn't do it for me. Stardust sure as shit did not do it for me. This current iteration of Cody Rhodes is the one that I like the most. So I am going to be locking in the American Nightmare, the American roller coaster, Cody Rhodes. This one's easy, right? Like I don't even think that any of us need to debate this. So we're looking at the tribal chief Roman Reigns versus, the big dog, baby blue eyes Roman Reigns. I don't know where his blue eyes went. He all of a sudden just stopped having blue eyes. To me, this is the easiest thing. The big dog Roman Reigns may just be one of the biggest failures in professional wrestling history in terms of a character that's been pushed and pushed and pushed to kingdom come, and the audience just rejects them every step of the way. Meanwhile, the tribal chief was just this, it just felt right. It was this natural character for Roman Reigns, and he crushes it. He crushes it as the tribal chief. His in-ring skills have gotten better. His in-ring storytelling and psychology has gotten better. His promos are significantly better. His charisma, his facial expressions, everything about the tribal chief is 30,000 times better than the big dog Roman Reigns. So I'm locking in the tribal chief Roman Reigns. Next up, we have The Rock, and I guess on the left we have, what do we want to call him? The people's champ, The Rock. And then on the right we have Hollywood Rock from 2003. Look, for me, Hollywood Rock, that is, and I'm not even just saying the best version of The Rock, that may just be the greatest character that the WWE has ever written for. Seriously, Hollywood Rock is actually perfection. I would argue the greatest heel run of any wrestler ever. That like 5-month period that we got Hollywood Rock was special. It was amazing. It's the in-ring body of work was great. The vignettes, the promos, the Hollywood Rock concerts, they were just so good. Don't get me wrong, you know, Rock on the left, Hollywood, I guess the People's Champ. This is like the version that came back to feud with John Cena. Like if they were to get into a promo battle, Hollywood Rock would absolutely destroy this other version of The Rock. This other version of The Rock, all he had was Fruity Pebbles, Kung Pao Chicken, blah, blah. The Hollywood Rock actually had like genuinely hilarious quotes and lines. So I'm taking 2003 Hollywood Rock. Oh boy, this is going to spark some debate. We've got the different faces of Bray Wyatt. We have, I guess, Swamp Bray Wyatt. We have The Fiend Bray Wyatt. And then we have whatever the hell today's Bray Wyatt is supposed to be. Look, I'm going to tell you that the one on the right, today's Bray Wyatt, that ain't it. No, it's not it. It's between The Fiend and Wyatt family Bray Wyatt. And look, like in terms of presentation, I like The Fiend. I like that split personality between The Fiend and that Mr. Rogers-like version of the Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt. I do like Swamp Bray Wyatt, Wyatt family Bray Wyatt. I don't know what to call him. So I'm going to be taking the one in the middle, The Fiend, to take this one home. I just like the versatility of him swapping between different personalities with, you know, the children's show and then this demonic figure. They just did him dirty, honestly. They just did him dirty. But that is the best version of Bray Wyatt, in my opinion. Next up, we have Finn Balor and the Demon Finn Balor. And I don't know if I want to call Demon Finn Balor an entirely like different gimmick, because it's not as if Demon Finn Balor gets on the mic and has stories and personalities told about him. He really is just the personification of in-ring violence of Finn Balor. That's kind of what I see it as. I love the Demon. When he pulls out the Demon, I think it's some of the coolest presentations and productions that the WWE puts forth. Those entrances, man, the look and feel and the vibe of the Demon, it's too bad that it's been kind of waned off recently with just the constant losses that the Demon just seems to take when he used to be unbeatable in NXT. But I'm going to be honest, I just like regular old vanilla Finn Balor because I like Finn Balor's personality. I like his ability to cut promos, especially these days with the Judgment Day. I think he's crushing it. So I'm going to take, I guess, human Finn Balor. Next up, we have the four faces of Foley. So in here we have from left to right, we have regular Mick Foley, we have Cactus Jack Mick Foley, Dude Love Mick Foley, and Mankind Mick Foley. For me personally, like I just love the absolute chaos that is Cactus Jack. And you know, when he pulls out Cactus Jack, that's like his most serious version of himself. It's funny because I feel like Cactus Jack is to Mick Foley what the Demon is to Finn Balor. Like when he pulls out Cactus Jack, you know some shit is gonna go down. Just ask Randy Orton in that match in Backlash. I'm sure he's still reeling from that, even though it was 20 years ago. But I'm going to take Cactus Jack Mick Foley. Next, we have the four versions of Kane. I guess we have mute masked Kane, that the ruthless aggression unmasked Kane, corporate mayor Kane, and then whatever, you know, the final masked version of Kane. I can tell you that for me, easily, it's unmasked Kane, but like very specifically, like shortly after he got unmasked, that 2003, 2004 era of unmasked Kane, he was one of the biggest menaces in wrestling history. He literally murdered the Undertaker. Like, don't forget that he's the one that brought back the dead man. He burned Jim Ross alive. He electrocuted Shane McMahon's nutsack. Like, that guy was an absolute fiend. So I'm taking bald, unmasked Kane for this one. Next, we have the Hurricane and Gregory Helms, or Shane Helms, whatever you want to call him. Look, Shane Helms, Gregory Helms just doesn't hold a candle to the Hurricane as a character, and in terms of connecting with the audience, I'm sure he probably prefers to play the Gregory Helms version of himself because it allows him to be a more candid version, more human version of himself. But I like the cartoony, ridiculous, funny aspect of the Hurricane. I think the Hurricane had great fan chemistry, especially in the 2003 era. So I'm going to give this to the masked superhero, the Hurricane. Next up, we have Woken or Broken Matt Hardy versus, I guess, like regular Hardy Boys Matt Hardy. Look, like regular Hardy Boys Matt Hardy, like he's just sort of like Jeff's brother. Like, can we just call a spade? Like, he's just sort of there to be Jeff's brother. But Broken Matt Hardy, that man was a revelation. Yes, I can't do a really great impression of him. Broken Matt Hardy is far and away the best version of Matt Hardy that has ever existed. He was the hottest thing in wrestling for a while there during that Broken Matt Hardy phase in his TNA days. So for me, like, it's not even close. I am taking the Woken one, Matt Hardy. Oh, the battle of like the most absolute menaces in wrestling history. We have 1990s Mr. McMahon versus do-rag Vince McMahon. Like, both of these guys are absolute menaces. Like, I wasn't there watching wrestling on a weekly basis for 90s Mr. McMahon and his shenanigans with Stone Cold, but I was there for the height of do-rag Vince McMahon and the absolute egomaniac, menace, racist, bigot. He was all of things. He was ever, like, literally, like, if it was a soup of awful personality traits, do-rag Vince McMahon had all of them. So I'm taking do-rag Vince McMahon purely for how just an absolute menace he was. So do-rag Vince McMahon moves on. All right, next up we have the different versions of the Usos. We have the day one-ish Uso Penitentiary Usos, and then on the right we have face paint Usos. Similar to the Tribal Chief versus the Big Dog. I think this is easy, right? Like, I think the majority of people are gonna say that Uso Penitentiary Usos are far and away the better versions of themselves. Again, like, I think the overall, like, the face paint and the dancing was just too cartoony, and it was really difficult to get like genuine fan interest and connection. Meanwhile, the Uso Penitentiary Usos, like, we were rooting for like relatable humans, right? So I'm gonna be taking the current version of the Usos. Next, we have the different versions of Dominic Mysterio. On the left hand side, we got good guy Dominic Mysterio. He's Ray's son. And on the right, we have the greatest thing to ever grace a wrestling ring. We have a dirty Dominic Mysterio. I love in the background Rhea Ripley's just hyping up Dominic. Yeah, to me, this one's not even close. Like, had Dominic stayed as the good kid, you know, Ray's son, his career would have been done. Like, I think he would have been out of the WWE within 2 years. Like, because the only reason he was around was because he was Ray's son. Now he has evolved and created a character that is all his own, and he is knocking it out of the park anytime he has television time. Dirty Dominic Mysterio isn't just the better version of Dominic Mysterio, but the best thing going on in wrestling today. Fucking mark my words right there, fellas. Next, we have Eat Your Vitamins, Say Your Prayers, Red and Yellow Hulk Hogan versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And I think I'm definitely going to be in the minority here, but look, I'm going to tell you something, fellas. Red and Yellow Hulk Hogan kind of does it for me. I don't know why. It's just this over the top, the over the topness of the, just how silly of a good guy he is. He's just too good of a good guy. I don't know. It works for me. For some reason, it resonates with me. I get amped up every time he hulks up. I get amped up whenever he does the you. I don't know. For some reason, I just vibe a lot more with red and yellow Hulk Hogan than I ever did with black and white Hollywood Hulk Hogan. So I'm going to be taking my vitamins and saying my prayers. I'm taking red and yellow Hulk Hogan. Okay, this is interesting because I wouldn't say these are different gimmicks, but definitely different versions for sure. Because on the left, we have Dean Ambrose, and on the right, we have John Moxley. Same person, just different names and in different companies. I would say that really the left-hand side is just 1% of what John Moxley is. I feel like the WWE never allowed Dean Ambrose to be truly himself, and what we have over in AEW with John Moxley is Dean Ambrose turned to like the full 100%, and we have the final evolved form of Dean Ambrose in John Moxley over in AEW. To me, this is not even close. I am taking John Moxley. We have Cowboy Brock Lesnar versus Party Brock Lesnar. Lesnar. I mean, Party Brock Lesnar was like such a gem. All right. It was the best thing to come out of that year's Money in the Bank match, because the match itself, like the result was awful. Nobody wanted Brock Lesnar to win that thing. But at the very least, we got the Brock Party and Brock Lesnar dancing to hip hop, which is hilarious and we'll never see again. But Cowboy Brock Lesnar just works, dude. I feel like Cowboy Brock Lesnar is just Lesnar being himself. So to me, I just vibe a lot more with Cowboy Brock Lesnar. As fun as the Brock Party was, it just didn't last long enough for I don't know, for me to be able to put it over Cowboy Brock. I don't think so. So I will be taking Cowboy Brock Lesnar. Next, we have Bayley, the hugger Bayley versus the role model Bayley. And this is, you know what? This is interesting because I think it might almost be like the same thing with Hulk Hogan, but now in female form, because I also really resonated with the hugger, the ridiculousness of her character, the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tubeman as she came out into the ring, her connection with little girls. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just such a fun, different character. I feel like, this role model, like that kind of character exists in plentiful in the world of professional wrestling, but the hugger is just so unique and different. So I'm taking Bayley as the hugger, believe it or not. Next, we have New Day Kofi versus Jafakin Kofi Kingston. And I mean, I don't know. I kind of like Jafakin Kofi Kingston. The fake Jamaican accent was kind of endearing. I mean, New Day Kofi Kingston is also a gem, especially during that Kofi Mania run. Was just unbelievable. He was so likable, so relatable, so sympathetic. Yeah, you know what? I talked myself out of picking Jafakin Kofi Kingston. I'm going to take New Day Kofi Kingston. That Kofi Mania run was just too good. So I'm taking New Day Kofi Kingston. We have Hall of Pain Mark Henry and Sexual Chocolate Mark Henry, and Hall of Pain clears. I mean, I think Hall of Pain Mark Henry may just be one of the most destructive runs in wrestling history. He was so unstoppable. I loved everything that he was doing with the Hall of Pain. So for me, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are going to want Sexual Chocolate, but I am taking the Hall of Pain Mark Henry. What did you pick? All right, get out of here.